I think opportunity is mostly created by an individual, but obviously there are types of opportunities that can be given.
In terms of whether opportunity is created or given, I'd say that you create your own opportunity because of how you sort of pay attention to what's around you. I guess you sort of have to be present, like, at the right time to get the right opportunity that you want, and in that sense it's quite frustrating if you're like, you could be working really hard for something but you're still not in the right place at the right time to get the opportunity that you're wanting to get.
I have created all of my opportunities that have been present to me. I think some people are lucky enough to be given opportunities, but depending on your situation, some people have to create them for themselves.
Personally, I had to find a lot of opportunities myself, for example, like work experience in the Welsh Assembly, but then my parents would help me with that, like they'd help me pay for my train fare or something, so I guess it's a bit of both, but for some people it's a lot more given, and for some people it's a lot harder for them to do it themselves.
Somebody's background can completely define who they will be as a person. I think there's a traditional route that we are pushed to follow in school, which is GCSEs, sixth form and A-levels or college, and then off to university at the age of 18, and for some people that it doesn't work, and that's how it wouldn't have worked for me. Education wasn't really ever my strong suit. As a young person, I really struggled with coming to terms with that, but I think I'm now finally in a place where I can comfortably just say I'm taking a breather, basically.
I think in general someone's background determines what they're going to do to quite a great extent, but not necessarily for all people. For example, my dad's a builder and my mum's a librarian, but I'm not doing anything near either of those two things. And I'm probably the first person in my family to be doing something in the creative industry. So I don't think it doesn't directly correlate, and I know a lot of friends who are in the creative industry and their parents don't necessarily do anything to do with that.
Somebody could be seen as coming from a very well-off family who have the money to make opportunities happen very quickly, or you can see someone who comes from a background that never really had anything handed to them, but they're willing to work hard for the opportunities that they want.
I think someone's background and where they're from can affect who they become or what they do. If your parents have gone to university, you probably have aspirations of going to uni, whereas because it's achievable to you, someone like you, your parents can do it. Same for if you have a brother or sister. But if you're the first person doing that, if you're the person has to go and take on that debt and all that study and give up potentially fun things to do, to spend your time studying, that's probably a lot scarier, and if you don't know what's going to come from that. So I think it shapes you, but you can do a lot more than what your area or what your parents or family do. It just takes a lot of work.
I'd say in terms of how much someone's background determines what they're going to do, it's, for me, I'd say it's like mostly what I guess someone's upbringing is like and what their parents do, and also how motivated they are and if they have any like ambitions to do anything. If they're not motivated, if they don't have any ambitions to do anything, they're probably just going to end up doing what their parents do, and then like they're just going to be stuck doing something that they don't want to do, but it's the only thing that they can do. Whereas like other people will kind of push the boat out, they'll do something that their parents don't do, and then like they find different opportunities that way, I guess.
No, my area does not provide me with opportunities. I've got to go an hour each way to college to go to a good sixth form because the ones around me were not the best, to say the least, but you know, if you put that effort in, you can find opportunities. I guess in your area, I found a job here, of all places.
I don't necessarily feel the need right now to go elsewhere to find opportunity, but obviously there are opportunities elsewhere. Like if I went to London, there would be more jobs than if I stayed in what is essentially a rural part of the UK. But equally, there's still opportunity here, and I'm still pretty content at the moment.
For me personally, I don't think my area offers me specifically any much in the way of opportunities, because I work in music, and in Blenavon specifically, there isn't a music scene. Basically, the closest place that I can go to like a decent live show would be like Newport or Cardiff. The fact that I can drive, or the fact that my travel can be compensated or whatever, like I can go to different places, like music has basically taken me everywhere. Like, it's taken me up to like Glasgow and Edinburgh and like Germany as well. So I've made my own opportunities out of travelling to different places to broaden my horizons, I guess.
Much like someone's background, you need to take into account the places in which they come from. And I think, again, if you were to live somewhere that at arm's reach you had all these amazing people who could open the doors to opportunities for you, then you're almost set up and everything's in line for what you want.
I guess I identify with parts of my area. I care a lot about it, and I would like to, in the future, help it become a more prosperous area. And I care about it a lot in that way, and seeing like better funding for education services or mental health services. Because I've experienced them. I know they're not great, but I don't feel particularly patriotic. I'm not going to go out and support the football team or the rugby team. As for Wales in general, I can't speak the language, and I complain about it quite a lot, but do begrudgingly love Wales.
In general, I don't think I identify with Abergavenny that well because they're mostly filled with old people and I'm a younger person. But on like a business level, I do identify with them really well because I've been to some networking events and there's so many local businesses and freelancers in Abergavenny that when I go to those events, there's essentially about 50 like-minded people in the room, and there's plenty of people on the same page as me in that sense.
Over the years, how I've identified with my area has definitely fluctuated. It'll always be home. I grew up here, so I feel quite connected to it in a way, but as I grew up and grew older, it was hard to find something, whether it was the people or an area or community I didn't identify with. In a Catholic school, it was quite difficult to explore identity to a certain extent in regards to sexuality. In my final years of high school, I had that realisation where I didn't feel like how everybody else felt about certain people, and being gay was something difficult to identify with, as there was nobody there that was doing it or comfortably doing it, and it wasn't a spoken about thing. I live in a small town, so there's still people with those negative opinions.
I think I created a lot of opportunity, not in like a braggy way. I was just quite determined to like go to Oxford. That was being my goal for like the last 4 years. So I've worked as hard as I can at that. Just if something's there, taking it, and then if I want to try and do something, finding some way for me to do that. Yeah, just taking what's available and making the most of it. That sounds so cliche.
To a certain degree, I have created a lot of opportunity for myself, but then I've also had like a fair amount of help and encouragement from my parents in terms of what I wanted to do. Like they've not tried to push me in any direction to do any like certain jobs or like to do like a certain course. Like they let me and they enabled me to do what I want to do. I guess being a dad has sort of created opportunity for me and also like limited different opportunities for me. When I sort of first started out doing music and stuff, I wanted to go into doing like quite a lot of touring and stuff, but having a kid means that if I go off on tour or I go into the studio for like weeks at a time to like obviously work, then I'm not with my son anymore. I'm not going to be seeing him. Before, sometimes I'd be away on tour for like a week or something. I'd come back and then it felt like he wouldn't necessarily like recognise me. Like obviously he did, he knew who I was, but it felt like there wasn't the same connection that we had like a week before, because obviously he'd been around me all the time. So I guess in terms of that, it does like affect the opportunities that I have, and it also affects what I do. But then at the same time, when I did initially become a dad, my parents basically said to me that they didn't want that to limit what I wanted to do, and they said that they would do everything in their power to like support me.
If you're passionate about making things happen for yourself, this kind of subject is something that you always think about, because you know that if you don't put that hard work in, then things aren't going to happen for you. until you come to terms with exactly what you want to do, those opportunities are almost non-existent because you aren't in the mindset of making them happen for yourself. So until you know, or I mean, even if you don't know, you need to have an idea of the pathway in which you want to go.
Opportunity is a recurring thing. There'll always be something there for you, and is finding those right opportunities and taking them and reflecting on the opportunities and saying, why do I want this? Should I take this? Is it good for me? Will it make me happy? And that's something I'm still doing. But that's okay. I think everybody should be doing that. We should be questioning their choices, what opportunities, why they're striving for those opportunities. And I think we shouldn't put so much pressure on ourselves to reach certain goals or get off certain opportunities. Just take your time.